Every time I was reading this book, I was like, oh, hey, that's the Lord of the Rings.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the horrorofbabylonpodcast@gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/thehorrorofbabylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to episode 138 of The Horror of Babylon, where we discuss Wolves of the Calla. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
And Hef's here, too.
How y'all doing? Good to be here.
We want to take just a minute to give you a brief update on the YouTube channel. We've decided, due to the YouTube algorithms, that we're going to separate the gaming content and the podcast content onto two separate channels. Hef has had his own channel for a while, but for the past year or so, we've been tandemly releasing his videos on both channels, and starting in August, we are going to only release his gaming videos on the Hef_GG channel, and continue to release the podcast episodes on the Horror of Babylon. The reason for that being that's nicer for the YouTube algorithm, because we were essentially like creating two different audiences on one channel, and that means they're fighting each other, and this is hopefully going to work out better. But Hef's videos are not going away. He's not going to stop guesting on the show. You just have to subscribe to HefGG to get his videos instead of seeing them here on this channel. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Join in. I sent out a couple of messages on a couple of social medias a little while back if you didn't see them. So this is extra incentive if you're into the Let's Play content. Definitely, come join me.
His channel is linked in the description, and it's just HEF_GG if you want to search it up yourself. Give him a sub, and it's that easy. Okay, and you know who else is easy? Our patrons.
It's funny because I was going to say, you know who else is our subs? But yours is better.
No, if anything, we're the subs.
Yeah.
To our patrons.
We can't make Ron watch movies. Thank you to Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron.
And Ben.
And Cy Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope, and Cy Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker, Cy Sierra the Sixth, the Keyblade Patron. And if you make it to the to Calla Bryn Sturgis in Outworld, Allworld,
I don't know.
I forget. In all world,
in some of worlds,
in the world,
somewhere in the multiverse,
you can check out
Midworld.
No, it's not Midworld anymore. It's because there's in-world, there's mid-world, and then it's either all-world or out-world, and I can't remember.
They're walking through the Dreamlands. They're in the Dreamlands.
Yeah, it's Neverland.
That's where they went to get Orin in Final Fantasy X. I'm still sad.
I don't remember that.
It's fine. Continue.
He's the blind guy, right?
No. The blind guy?
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy
The guy
X?
with like the really dark glasses?
He's not blind.
Oh, he's not blind, yeah.
So you think.
He's the blind samurai.
I mean, if anybody was blind in that movie, it was like
the
main character, because he was just like, I've been dead the whole time and no one told me.
He's dead the whole time?
100%.
Thanks for the spoilers. You gotta give warnings.
I refuse to apologize for spoilers from 2001.
I literally posted today that I was going to play that game on my channel.
Do it. Show me. Picture it didn't happen.
one of the best Final Fantasies to play too.
I've started it 3 times and never finished it.
Do you need a copy?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I started it once in high school, once in college, and once as an adult.
I was just about to just start spoiling stuff.
And
in response to you.
I loved it all 3 times, but I just never played it to the end.
I just think it's the most.
I thought you were fucking with me so bad, and I just ran with it.
I do think it's the most user-friendly Final Fantasy.
Ribs. Ow.
All right, Four Horsemen Comics is in the Morgantown Mall, Morgantown, West Virginia. Mall Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shop online at fourhorsemen.tcgplayerpro.com. And if you make it in, say hi to Ron, I guess.
Ron is going to betray us.
Trigger warning.
Ugh.
I don't even know.
Okay, let's see. Okay, you got unwanted pregnancies.
I guess, yeah.
You have political abortion talk.
For like a paragraph.
It's too long!
Fran syndrome.
Yeah, Fran syndrome.
Ayn Rand. Oh no, that was something else I was reading.
Child death.
Yeah.
Visceral child death.
Yeah. Robots.
Yeah, if you're afraid of robots, if you're an X-Man, this book will freak you out.
Yep. Okay.
If you're one of the X-Men with shitty powers, I guess.
I'm sure we missed something because it's a very long book, but whatever.
It is a very long book.
Okay.
The next book is like half the length. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The last one is longer, I think.
No.
Yeah, the last one is the longest, I believe.
The vampires are pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Okay, welcome to Background. We read The Dark Tower, Book 5, Wolves of the Calla by Stephen King.
Oh my god, that picture.
Original cover right is Bernie Wrightson.
I thought it was Bernie Sanders.
No, he's busy saving the planet. Original publication was in October of 2001.
Thought of another trigger.
Okay.
The way Stephen King writes black people.
Yep.
2003 wasn't quite late enough.
Yeah, honky muffas.
Honky muffas. Okay, and that's Background. All right, and we skipped our history, but that's okay because it's everybody's first time.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Structure and themes. Why don't you kick us off and talk about the structure of this book and your thoughts?
I think aside from possibly the Wastelands, this is like the most linear one.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, like...
With the exception of Callahan.
I think it's more linear than the Wastelands
Way
because...
more than the Wastelands.
Because the Wastelands has the stuff about Jake and Roland not knowing if...
they're alive or dead.
Yeah. And there's a lot of back and forth there. And there's also a lot in our world, and there's a lot in Midworld, and it jumps back and forth between the two.
I feel like this one has like I don't disagree with that, but like as far as like a congruent story where you're following congruent characters, like I feel like that's much more in this one because like I don't think we didn't segue at all.
I'm saying Wolves of the Calla is more.
Oh yeah, no,
more,
I agree. Yeah, more so.
Because other than like Daniel said, other than Callahan's story,
that's the only time we kind of jump away.
Yeah, and we don't even like it opens on. T and Jafford and a couple you get little bits of the perspective of the people of Colburn Sturgis, but not a lot.
No, it's just enough to give you like a prologue before you get to the actual meat of the story.
Yeah, I think it's that first chapter with T and Jafford's and then the meeting. And then after that, I'm not sure if you are in anybody else's other than
I don't think so.
Other than the ka-tet.
No, because like the most we get, like I think after that is basically just them getting to know the town and getting to know Father Callahan, and Callahan himself. The only thing that I would consider to be a deviation from what the story's doing. But even that it circles back like pretty quickly.
Yeah, and he's part of the ka-tet now.
Right. So
Donald Callahan.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 5 books in, and this one I would say is probably one of the easiest ones to read.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. Genre, like obviously this one. Daniel, talk to us about Akira Kurosawa.
You just want me to suck his dick for an hour or something?
No, I just in relation to this book.
Oh, to this book?
Seven Samurai.
Yeah, Seven Samurai.
Yeah. Okay. So
yes, it was.
If you're not familiar with Seven Samurai, it's a classic Japanese movie that has been adapted, parodied, ripped off, like in every way possible. Like, you think you've never seen something Seven Samurai, I promise you're wrong.
Yeah. Have you watched Star Wars?
Yeah. They did a whole Clone Wars episode about the Magnificent Seven. Like, there's all this stuff. So, the basic premise of that is there's a poor Japanese village of rice farmers these bandits are stealing their rice, so they hire 7 samurai to protect them. And that's essentially it. In this, it's children. They are rice farmers, but it's children that are being stolen.
Yeah, they're farming children.
Yeah, but they're taking children, and only twins, actually. Only one of each twin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it follows that same process. And if you didn't read the book and you're listening to this and you're going to argue with me, but Ryan, are there 7 people in the ka-tet? No, there are not, but there are 7 people who end up fighting by the end of the book. So on you, random listener who didn't read the book and is arguing with me, because there's 3 sisters of Oriza.
I would say even if that wasn't the case, that inspiration sort of...
It wouldn't matter, actually, if there were 7 or 8 or 6.
But there is 100% 7 people.
There are 7.
Flinging plates and fighting.
Yeah. I wish we've gotten a little bit more of a description on those plates. Like, are they just like...
I just imagine, like... I imagine just dinner plates with a divot.
Yeah.
And they had razors on the outside of it, because the description of them wasn't really vivid.
No, because she was throwing them into the side of a barn and they didn't smash.
Well, but like the edges of them had like I said, that was like they were razor edged, so like they just like stick into it.
Yeah, but wouldn't still like the impact force crack or break the plate?
It'd be a metal plate.
In my head, it would like it's
that's
not
an
actual plate, just like in the shape of like what a dinner plate would be. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, I just think they got to be like metal or something.
Have you seen or played Mortal Kombat Kung Lao?
No.
He has a metal hat that he throws and has razors around. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Oh, you mean like the same character from the 7 Samurai episode of Star Wars Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Imbo?
Yeah, it's 100% the same dude.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so they're doing the Kung Lao thing.
Look up Imbo, the Kyozu from the Star Wars Clone Wars episode. Okay. Cool. This one... is this the most Western one that we've had?
I would think so. I would like this. This to me feels like very much a. In addition to the 7 Samurai, I feel like this had very much a like every Clint Eastwood Western I've ever seen in my life. Just kind of felt that way because it's all building up to this big showdown.
The bandits come down and they still are hootenannies.
Yeah, I would say this is the most like high noon, meet at dawn kind of like Western that we've seen so far out of these books.
I'm a big fan of this book. My one thing that stood out to me, I felt like I don't know if they were intended to be twists, but the things that were portrayed as twists I thought were super obvious, like the wolves being robots. Yeah.
Andy being evil as fuck.
Yeah, and that was the other one I was going to mention.
The one dude who was kind of contrary and also being evil as fuck.
Ben Slightman the older.
Yeah.
He wasn't the contrarian one.
He wasn't.
He went along with them.
That was Overhoser.
Overhoser was the contrarian one, and he ended up fighting watching over the kids.
Yeah, he was still part of the...
No, Ben Slightman the elder was faking it, like he was with them the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I feel like when Eddie found out that they were robots, they should have just said it there instead of waiting 200 pages to tell us. Because that made me feel like I wasn't supposed to have figured it out. But I thought it was really obvious that the wolves were robots.
I also don't know if the main twist of the book is only obvious because I already knew it going in.
Oh. I didn't, and I thought it was obvious.
I was like, this is like the most obvious setup I have ever listened to in terms of twists. Mm-hmm. Not in terms of it being poorly written, just in terms of I can see what's coming. I don't know if this is supposed to be a twist, but I knew it going in.
There's a lot of kingy, I'm going to say, I don't know if you would call it a kingism or not, but there's just so many points in the book where he does that thing where, like, he tells you ahead of time, and then, like, so much goes by that you're just like, oh, yeah, he did mention that.
Yeah.
Like, that happens a lot in this book.
Yeah, he does that a lot. And it was the last time that Lewis and Gage ever played ever again.
Yeah. I like that's something I do like about Stephen King's writing.
Most of the time, I like it. Yeah,
I like it when it's good. I guess that would be true with anybody, but when he does it well, he does it really well.
Yeah.
Okay,
he always foreshadows as like the last sentence of a chapter or something, and it's just like, oh yeah, he did say that like 2 chapters ago.
So actually, we didn't mention it, but in terms of structure, there is one big subplot that is unresolved in this book that I'm not saying it's a distraction, but other people could say it's a distraction, and that's Calvin Tower and Aaron Deepno.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that?
I just thought it was to set up the main twist of the book because they kept hyper-focusing on books and fictional narratives and how things are written.
I mean,
the main twist of Wolves of Calla?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't put... I don't know. This one, to me, felt like more I was just along for the ride rather than I was paying a whole lot of attention. But the Calvin Tower stuff, like, they were... I'm kind of like him. Like, I didn't think they were going to do it at the end of this book. Just because it just didn't feel like that kind of setup was going to happen because with Susanna having all her stuff going on, plus the wolves, plus this. Like, I've seen King try to shove a lot of stuff into a book before. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he didn't in this one, because that was probably the one storyline that I really would be like, I'm okay if this one just waits a bit.
Yeah. No, at some point I realized that we're not going to get a resolution to the wolves, Susanna, and Calvin Tower. Like, some of this stuff is going to have to wait.
Yeah, because I only had like an hour and a half left.
Yeah.
I was like, at least 30 minutes of this is going to be a King outro, because that's been the case for like all of the books on audio.
And this one had 30 minutes of Song of Susanna at the end of it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, which I did not listen to.
I also didn't. I stopped it as soon as he gave the acknowledgement.
Yeah, because those aren't even always the first chapter. Sometimes they jump you in at chapter 4.
Yeah, an action-y bit to entice you.
And I was like, no way, no. Something that was probably worth mentioning in background. So all the previous Dark Tower audiobooks were read by Frank Mueller, who unfortunately, between production of Wizarding Glass and Wolves of the Calla, was injured in a motorcycle accident and unable to work at all, period, post that. So they had a new narrator for this one, which I spent like the first hour of this audiobook extremely upset that it was different. But I got over it.
I was just happy it wasn't Stephen King.
Yeah.
Because that made which was the one that he narrated?
Oh, it was a wind through the
Wind
keyhole.
Through the Keyhole.
I was like, buddy.
That was such a takeout for that one. Ugh.
Yeah, and I've heard him narrate books where he's not that bad, but like when he was reading that one, I was like, can you at least do a voice for the characters?
The new narrator is George Goodall,
I think.
Yeah, and he did a good job. There was an adjustment period because we had listened to 4 books with the previous.
I liked him because he read just a bit faster.
He did, yeah.
Which I was very much okay with. Because the other books, I don't know if you had the same thing I did. I had to put Frank Mueller on 1.75 speed to be able to kind of like... Because even the 1.5 was still kind of felt like a little slow to me.
No, I started 1.5 years ago, and I can't go back to one-time speed. So, and there was a point where I was starting to listen to stuff at 1.75, but I stopped and made myself not, because if I got used to 1.75, then I probably could never go back to 1.5.
I stay at 1.0 because otherwise I lose information.
These were the
It's too slow for me.
These were the
I
only
get
ones.
distracted. I'm like,
Yeah, these were the only ones I've ever done that with, and that's because I think Mueller did. Now, I did listen to it at regular speed. Like, I went through the first Dark Tower at regular speed.
yeah.
Oh my god, no offense to him, but it went on forever, and it was just he was a slow and deliberate reader, which I have no problem with. It was just a teensy bit too slow with what I felt like I was needing out of the book at the time.
Yeah.
So, again, nothing against him, but that's just this guy George Goodall. He read a little bit faster, and I don't know, it just fit more my vibe.
No, I liked him once I got used to it.
Yeah.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's go to characters, and of course, I hope you guys aren't sick of him, because we've got to talk about him again. Oi. No.
Oi, best boy.
Best boy.
Roland Duchesne of the ka-tet of 19, of the line of Eld.
He's finally starting to be likable.
The den of this ka-tet, the ka-tet of 19, ka-tet of the 99, guy,
Breaker of chains.
mother of dragons.
I'm surprised nobody, when we were saying Mia earlier, didn't say Mia, daughter of none.
I didn't think of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that would have been good. Okay,
Yeah.
Daniel, kick us off with Roland Duchesne.
I like how over the course of all of these books, his body is slowly just getting destroyed and going to crap a little bit more, and is starting to finally accumulate in this book.
He's hundreds of years old, and he's worried about arthritis.
Yeah.
I think he even said he was searching for the tower for 1,000 years in this book.
Yeah.
They did bring that up, and I don't think they'd mentioned that in the book before. He's like, I've been searching for 1,000 years. I'm like, 1,000 years?
We don't really know, after he dropped Jake, we don't...
how long he'd been going around.
Well, and also, how long he was out before he woke up on the beach with Flag. There's just, muddled, and, when he was wandering alone.
Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Yeah, so... It's at least hundreds of years.
But, the second book, he gets the first book, he is all, dehydrated and fucked up from chasing a wizard. Mm-hmm. And then in the second book, he gets his fingers bitten off and one of his toes.
Yep.
And now he's like, I have arthritis.
And it's solved by Ben Gay and the love of a good woman.
Yeah, I was going to say it's solved by Ben Gay and fucking...
Rosalita.
Rosalita Munoz.
To which the whole time I'm sitting there being like, oh, Selma. Yes,
yeah,
please.
I was also picturing Salma Hayek.
Yep.
But I do like that. I hate him a lot less than I did from the first book.
In this book, he gave me the picture of he's kind of like your salty grandpa.
Yeah,
but a little less salty as he's gotten older.
He's end of Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood, and not racist at the RNC Clint Eastwood.
I think it helps a little bit that since the Wastelands, we've read Wizard and Glass and The Wind Through the Keyhole, which both let us spend time with younger Roland. So we understand him a little bit more. I also think it helps that he's showing that he cares about Eddie, Jake, and Susanna more, and that makes him more likable to me.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things in this book, and I guess this involves a lot of the characters, is he's staying up and watching Susanna go around just eating frogs and crushing things, and he's like, man, this is kind of fucked up, but maybe I should keep it to myself for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know how bad this is.
It's pretty bad.
Sitting there, and everybody knows, but nobody's acknowledging it.
His speech to Ben Slightman, where at the end on whether they're just riding towards the thing on the coach, and he's just like, "Whew!" You don't want to talk about a verbal beating.
Yeah, I don't know. It's. We'll talk about that, because I do want to talk about Ben Slightman, because I think there's a discussion to be had.
I might have killed my boy, but I didn't get glasses out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought Roland was on his high horse a little bit in that speech.
I also thought he was on his high horse a little. That to me was the one because King has done this a few times throughout the series where he's like, I wrote this guy as like the like completely amoral, will do anything for his goal character a little too much, and he has to keep finding ways to walk it back a little.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, but he never took a bribe. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was given kind of a lot at the end of the first book.
Okay, maybe let's just talk about Ben Slightman now before we get to the rest of the ka-tet, because we've kind of naturally come to it.
Kind of came into the dude.
Obviously, betraying his town is not okay, and he's trading lives, which according to Captain America is not okay. He's trading his son's life for
other people's kids' lives.
Yeah, and so all of that is obviously bad and okay. It felt weird to me that Roland was attacking this guy so hard. I'm like, Roland, are you really that much better?
I really feel like one of the other characters probably should have been the one attacking him for this.
Yeah.
I also feel like Roland is in a weird place because, like, we're starting to kind of assimilate with the idea that, you know, Roland's not a piece of shit. Like, he is a person. He does have his struggles and whatnot. And I'm in kind of the same way where that whole discussion between him and Ben Slightman, it kind of takes... It walks a line, and I don't think it completely sells it, as basically it's a father talking to another father. Mm-hmm. But Roland kind of is coming at it from, I'm still judging you for being a bad father.
If I was Ben, I would have said, well, I guess Ben didn't have this information. I didn't kill my kid, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah. I, as the reader, was thinking that as I was hearing it.
But he doesn't have that information.
Right.
He doesn't have the comeback that we as readers have.
I mean, Ben traded the safety of his own kid against the rest of the town, and Roland murdered Jake for the safety of the rest of the universe. However, at that time in that book, that was not the case. That was something that King had to walk back a little bit.
Yeah.
At that time, we just thought...
It's the tower.
It's the tower. Anything for the tower.
I'm saving all of the multiverse.
Yeah.
I'm Loki.
At the same time, like, to me, it is kind of a good... I think it's actually a really good encapsulation of his character, because Roland, I think, for the longest time has been, at least from my perspective, he's always just kind of confused about how to deal with his own inadequacies, his own feelings and whatnot. So for him to kind of take this viewpoint on Ben is basically him awkwardly and us really looking and saying, no, he still doesn't get it. But he's so firm and so black and white in his quests that we as the readers are still kind of seeing his flaws. And I don't know if that's how King intended it, but I kind of took it as it's King showing us that Roland is still not completely at ease with himself as a man with a ka-tet that he has to care for. That's the way I kind of took it. Again, don't know if that's how it was written or how he wrote it. And it does, when he's talking to him, it sounds very verbally rough. But that, to me, that kind of fits Roland a bit.
I think he's just afraid to get hurt again. Because, I mean, we get the story of how Cuthbert, Elaine, and Jamie died in this book.
That, for me, was kind of the weird... I didn't expect to get that part
I was kind of emotionally... Like, I was upset.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect to be upset at that part.
The way he describes it is very, like, you know...
Yeah, I'm not, like, really... I wouldn't say I'm attached to Elaine or Jamie, a little bit to Cuthbert, but it was still... just the way it was written, it was like, oh, this fucking sucks.
As soon as they told me, like, as soon as I heard the name Jamie in there, like...
The dude who got laid?
That's exactly what I thought. I was just like, no, he just got laid.
He explained lesbians to Roland. He explained dildos to Roland.
Your butt stinks.
Yeah.
My new kitten likes to sleep on my face, and it has the worst smelling butt ever.
Sorry, Sheldon, but I'm not an ass-to-mouth kind of guy.
Not even in the heat of the moment?
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand Ben's perspective because as a father myself, it's
I
it's
think,
one of those situations you just don't know what you would do.
I think most fathers would have considered it if not done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially if it's a 12-foot robot telling you.
Yeah. Roland basically to just jump down his throat by, one, doing it, I understand. You want to jump down his throat by doing it, that's fine. But at the same time, if you are becoming as attached as you are to these people, you're telling me you would not, when you get to your tower, if there is even an option, or not even an option, but a choice where, which I think is what's leading up to this. That's why I think this conversation matters, is because at some point near the end of the book, that's going to happen. He's going to have to choose between his ka-tet and the tower, which makes that conversation he has with Ben all the more painful to us as the readers, because at this moment, he's not ready to make that choice, and that's what that conversation means to me.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Eddie, Susanna, and Jake, but I want to point out that we have not discussed those three main characters in 4 episodes.
Yes.
Because the previous episodes were The Wind Through the Keyhole, The Little Sisters of Valoria, Wizard and Glass, and Charlie the Choo-Choo. We have not discussed these 3 main protagonists since Book 3, The Wastelands. So, I guess let's...
The Little Sisters of Valoria. What a great book.
Yeah, is that still your number 1?
It's still my number 1.
Let's start with Eddie. I feel like Eddie is kind of... He's kind of stepping into, the lieutenant role, the second in command. Not officially, but it kind of feels that way.
He's not willing to drop anyone for the tower.
No. But he does admit, upon seeing the rose in this book, he does say that everything else is less important.
Yeah, he says that when he first sees the rose, and then at the end of the book he goes, never mind.
Yeah, but at that point he's not in the presence of the rose. I wonder if he would have said the same thing.
In the presence of the rose, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll kick us off. I liked Eddie for most of this, but I think he lost some points for me in this book overall. And the main reason I got really irritated with him when he goes to New York and in order to convince Calvin Tower. It was fine. He beat up those guys and made all these threats and whatnot. But just the him rationalizing the murder of innocent children. And then, these guys are wolves, and they marry wolves, and they breed wolves. And then, him getting upset with Calvin Tower when Calvin calls him on it, and he's like, you were kidding, right? And Eddie's like, no. And then he's like, this guy, he's a coward because he wouldn't kill children for the Dark Tower.
Yeah, that's the most Roland he's ever been.
Yeah, I was kind of icky. I didn't like Eddie in that moment.
I don't think we're supposed to. I think because that's I don't know. I think we're starting to get to that point in the books where, and I think this also goes with their ka-tet thing where they share minds.
Kef,
yeah, that's what it is.
No, Hef is right here.
Yeah, but I think I don't know.
Stuff for Keenan and Kef. They keep you laughing in the afternoon, so don't touch that dial be soon.
Okay.
I'm glad he knows the words, I guess.
Know all the words.
Fuck, I don't remember my point.
They're sharing.
Oh, they're sharing my... Yeah, so, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of a bleed over there, where since they collectively, share... I'm going to call it mental space on occasions, that maybe we have some kind of...
When I first heard it, I thought it was... they were doing these, converging points where... Roland was softening and Eddie was supposed to be hardening up for the quest, and that there was going to be a convergence of those 2 points where I thought they were setting up Eddie is going to make that tough call for the tower, but then that never materialized.
Could still.
It didn't materialize in this book, but that's what I thought they were setting up.
Eddie also goes along with lying to Susanna, where I feel like in previous books he never ever would have done that.
Yeah, and I thought all of that was he's becoming more like old Roland, and Roland is becoming more like I'm broken old man Logan now.
Yeah, like they started on opposite ends of the spectrum, and they're working towards meeting each other in the middle. But will they meet and pass each other and keep going?
That's what I thought was going on.
Yeah. That also could just be the influence of the tower. I mean, maybe that's something to be set up, like where it's because I mean, with Roland,
if the rose influences you that much.
Yeah. So I mean, Roland in the first book was an asshole. But eventually he's slowly starting to come around. Well, maybe Eddie's having the opposite, where, he's kind of the lovable loser when he first starts out, but now he's starting to converge over to where Roland would be, and maybe that's what the tower does, is as it's breaking apart realities, it's starting to bring things to like a singularity.
Yeah, I was convinced he was going to abandon Susanna at the end of the book. That's what I thought was being set up.
King does... I feel like he explicitly tells us that Susanna and Eddie will have a bad end. At some point...
It all... Like, I don't think I've directly heard it, but it's very much implied.
There was something like, Eddie's like, and he had the feeling that they were going to meet a bad end, but his job was to make sure that they enjoyed the time that they had left, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were my feelings on Eddie.
Yeah. Eddie Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Don't call me that, Richie!
I liked the voices that he, like, when they were in the cave where, like, everyone's voices, I liked his the most.
Yeah.
But he also had more to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, Roland probably has more to work with, but I relate to Eddie's more because it's more...
Real.
It's more your brother ragging on you, your mom guilt-tripping you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, Susanna, are we...
Those plates.
Are we worried that we're going to have another Fran situation?
I was worried we were going to have another Fran situation 2 books ago. So, I mean, at least she fights in this.
She does.
So
it's not like they left her. Like, that alone is better.
She fought while possessed with a demon baby.
Yeah.
So that's like 2 points.
What rubbed me a little bit the wrong way is when they first get into Caliburn Sturgis, and Roland kind of designates Susanna as just the watcher rather than the doer.
Because you have to listen.
Kinda. Like, that rubbed me just a little bit the wrong way. Like, I don't even know if it's a sexist thing, but it felt more like kind of I understand the logic of it, of why he did it, but it still kind of felt just a bit degrading to Susanna herself.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, and for the listeners, like, the logic is that the expectation would be that she's, not there to talk. He's there to listen. You're seen but not heard. And Roland's asking her to play into that so that she can keep her eyes and ears open and be, gather information. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. It doesn't feel great.
Yeah. Then I don't know. I did like where she got to bend that guy's thumb backwards. That was funny.
Yeah.
It was like, ha-ha!
That was great. I will take it from an old man who's lost all of his sense, but I will not take it from you.
Her eating all that muck made me physically ill.
I had to stop.
It was very descriptive.
It was bad.
I already hate frogs. Like, frogs are one of my least favorite animals. Just like seeing them makes me kind of... I'm like, you're a gross thing. But then the image of her like squeezing it and then slurping up its guts.
That was really bad. I love frogs. Frogs are delicious, but I have to have them cooked, and I only eat the legs.
What else? She ate a bunch of weird shit.
She ate a rat.
A rat. A piglet.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, it was.
Which was setting up that she needed to eat a person. And that didn't happen in this book, did it?
No. But Eddie was scared that she was going to steal one of the kids, one of the Jaffords kids.
Okay. I was like, I'm like 99% sure I didn't miss that, but to me that was implying that needed to happen for the kid to be born. But I guess that
it could still happen. Like,
I guess you could travel somewhere and eat a person.
I'm assuming the Song of Susanna is all about the pregnancy and Mia. Like, that's the whole book. I'm guessing
she's just eating children.
My guess is it's going to have we're going to have Susanna's story, and then we're going to have Roland and everybody else's story, which we'll keep going with Calvin Taron, Aaron Deepno, and then at some point they'll cross.
They'll crash.
Yeah, that's my guess. I don't know. And then the whole thing finishes in the next book.
Yeah. I rag on Stephen King for his the way he writes black people a lot, but I've already brought that up several times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, on one hand, I'm like, well, she is like from a certain era, and I'm like, and Stephen King was alive then, but at the same time, you're not a black person.
Yeah.
This book also has the problem of it's been over because we're in book 5, and I think it's been over a period at this point in the book. He's been writing these books for a period of over 10 years, I think. Right.
This one came out in 2003, and I think the Gunslinger came out in like 83, 84. I don't know when he wrote it. Okay, so the Gunslinger was published in 1982.
So I wasn't even alive.
And this one was published in 2003,
Okay.
so that's 21 years.
Yes. So the other problem that he's going to have here is that he wrote Susanna not only from a different time frame, but also when he himself was a different writer.
Yeah.
And it's tough for it. You want to talk about reneging Roland? You're taking out Susanna too. What?
No.
You're also taking out Susanna, which that would be undoing a character, and that's really hard to. That's hard. I mean, that would be hard to come back from. So, what do? Do you just lean into it?
I would just focus on her other personalities, not the one that says honky maw fuss.
I feel like there was less of that.
There was less of it, but anytime it happens, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it's 2003 Stephen King.
It's not drawing of the 3 bad.
Yeah, it's not drawing of the 3 bad. But it's just like every time it happens, I notice it.
There's honky more fuss.
And I'm like
putting their candles in each other's mouth.
And I'm sitting there like, man, I must have matured or something, because I grew up on 4chan, and I'm sitting here being a little bit uncomfortable for this character.
Yeah. I mean, I hope she has a role bigger than
Fran.
Than having a baby.
Susanna's status in this book right now, as of time of reading, is basically me saying, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
What's the over-under of the baby actually eating her? Like, do we take bets now?
I just don't.
I'm saying 20%, or like 1 in 5 chance.
I think she will survive to the final book. I'm not banking on anyone surviving in the final book, but I do not think that Susanna will die in book 6. I think she'll be alive for the last one.
Doing research, I found out the Crimson King is introduced in a different book, so now I have to read that.
What book is he introduced in?
Insomnia. Oh, yeah, he's introduced in a completely different book.
What the fuck?
Yeah. There's actually other books that reference this series too.
Yeah, I know. So I've actually been working on like a web. So like the core web would like the innermost ring would be the Dark Tower books 1 through 7, and then one web out would be the Wind Through the Keyhole, the Little Sisters of Illyria, Charlie the Choo Choo. So like the Dark Tower books that aren't a part of the Dark Tower series, and then another ring out would be the ones that have direct references to the Dark Tower but aren't. So like The Stand, Salem's Lot.
Yeah. The Stand was on that list, but we already read that.
Yeah.
So
and Eyes of the Dragon and.
But yeah, and so I'm like, so we're probably gonna have to read Insomnia at some point.
Yeah. Flag appears in Hearts in Atlantis and the Gwendolyn Christie box, the Button box, that trilogy.
Yeah. But I was like. He's the main villain, so now I have to read this book.
Oh no, I will read Insomnia. So. Yeah. I mean, I probably would have read it eventually anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't read that one. See, I kept referring to the Crimson King, and I'm just like, I feel like I should know who this is, and I just
he's the big
Sauron.
Bad. Yeah. He's Flag's boss, and he's the big bad who has yet to appear, and whose emblem is a red eye. Yes, he's Sauron.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all like every time I was reading this book, I was like, "Oh, hey, that's the Lord of the Rings."
Yeah, totally. Okay, and then just like, are there any thoughts on Mia, Daughter of None? Like, I mean, at first I was like, "Oh God, another personality," but I mean, the way you read it, all makes sense.
That made sense.
Yeah,
to me.
This one's like a spiritual entity, though. Like this is less of a personality.
It was created via demon pregnancy, which is kind of horrifying to me.
Hiya! Happy Easter!
Yeah, it is.
This was a weird segue that I found very interesting. Usually I'm not big on segues.
Yeah.
But this one actually kind of
I've only ridden one once.
I was gonna make that joke.
I'm gonna start calling them Segues.
They're a lot harder to ride than they look.
I've ridden a hoverboard once and I busted my coccyx. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, Emma fell off one day. She was upset. Ugh.
I was upset too. I don't have an ass to land on, so like it's just.
Yeah, when are you gonna get your Hank Hill ass pillows?
It left me in 1993 and never came back. So I just
join me for the gym on leg day. I'll help build up your glute muscles.
I hate leg day.
Squats.
I hate leg day.
Squats, hip thrusts, running even helps. Basically anything that just really works your legs.
Yeah, I know.
Work your
I
toes.
still don't like it anymore.
But yeah, Mia, daughter of none. I like that she had legs.
I like that she had legs.
Yeah, it was. I did like when they all went toe dash and she got to Susanna got to run around.
Yeah,
That
run around. That was cool.
cute.
Yeah.
It was cute.
It's either gonna this setup is either to me gonna be an awesome payoff, or I'm just gonna be so pissed off.
Yeah, no,
there's no medium.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
yeah.
And I'm worried that it's tilting towards the latter.
She absolutely has potential to have the best story or the worst story, and it's I'm afraid.
But at least in this book, and this is what I have to keep telling myself, is at least she fought. At least that we still got this.
Mm-hmm.
And like she was starting to have contractions, and she made like a complicated deal with another personality, the little Faustian pact.
That was cool.
I also
I'm
really
like, that's
that.
good.
Because if she was Fran, Roland would have found a reason to leave her back at the church. Like,
and I'm sitting there. Like,
no, you're pregnant. You can't come fight.
That was also kind of a really Roland-esque decision-making choice, where she's like, I have to finish this thing, and then you can have whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because then the thing's done.
We have to do our duty for the children of this Calla.
I already made this deal, so I was like, that's pretty good. But I'm afraid that all of the good moments are going to be squandered. But I'm just kind of used to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Kid. What's the kid's name again?
Jake Chambers.
Yeah, Jake.
Jake of the line of Eld of the ka-tet of the 99.
So,
wait, why did I say 99?
Spoilers, the kid gets to smoke his first cigarette. Do hood rat shit.
My Koontz is giving a kid a cigarette.
That's my king.
Jake got me so many times in this book because there was one point I was driving home. I don't remember what he was talking about exactly, but a lot of those moments where he's just like, why do I know that? And I think I yelled, stop doing that. Tell me what's going on.
I do think that if my son saw his only friend get killed right in front of him and he asked me for a cigarette, I'd probably go, I guess.
In an insanely violent way.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like blown to pieces.
That's my defense. I'm like, like everyone's like, yeah, go ahead this time.
The sad part, honestly, I may have too, but the reason, if I were Roland, I was like, well, chances are he's going to die by the end of this anyway, so what the fuck does it matter? Let him have some comfort.
Yeah. Don't worry, it ain't going to be the cancer that gets you. I drop you again.
This was a very rough book for Jake. One, like, having to call out Roland on keeping bullshit secrets and having to, like, step up and throw his dick in Roland's face. And then just, like, the whole thing with Benny's dad and then being friends with Benny. And then having this weird awkwardness where your friend is older than you, but you are so much more mature and they are a child, and it's just sad. And then watching that friend get blown to pieces in front of you, and also having to partake by snitches.
Oh.
So the whole time I'm picturing the golden snitch in my head. But I didn't realize that it was actually the golden snitch until you learn.
Yeah.
I was picturing, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie.
HPJK. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Have you guys ever seen the horror movie Phantasm?
No.
They have orbs that have like spikes on them. That's what I was picturing. But only in those, like, they embed themselves on your head and then all the blood in your body spurts out of you.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's fucking weird, but it's great.
Like, the way the snitch moves, I always thought it would be an interesting weapon. Like,
just homes it.
Hey, they're also dressed as Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I called that like the guy on the cover. I was like, that looks like a Doombot.
Yeah. Hey, man, you really look like C-3PO. I'm sure this won't come in.
My inner nerd was yelling so much whenever he was talking about Doctor Doom, and he's just like, "Oh, you know, like, because like, was it?
Oh, the Spider-Man picture books.
Yeah."
I always love it with like non-comic book fans are just because this is how people who don't read comics talk or aren't obsessed with the comic subculture actually talk about comics, because I hear it all the time. So I'm like, yeah, this is how they talk about comic books.
I go down and I just get a handful of Hulks and Spider-Mans and Archies from the grocery store.
I was talking to a coworker about comic books. He's like, you take them out of the bag, but doesn't that ruin their value? I'm like,
they don't have...
I'm like, maybe 1% of the comic books I own have something in them that are worth value, and those ones I don't open up anymore because I found out they are worth money.
Yeah,
but the rest of them are, like, I buy them to read them.
My most valuable like comics are maybe like $20-$30. So
I'd have to relook it up. I have the first appearance of the Batman Who Laughs, and at one point that was worth like $250. I think it went down in price some.
I have a few manga books that are worth a stupid amount of money.
I wasn't including manga.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. Like, I don't have any comic books that are worth money, but like I have a few manga books.
I'm still trying to find someone to buy them. Battle Royales.
$400 on eBay got rid of them for me.
Yeah, you had the fifth one, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, I don't have the fifth one.
I think I sold them for $6, so it worked out.
Anyway,
enjoy.
But who were we on?
Jake.
Yeah. Yeah, I got sidetracked.
Son of Elmer.
Bud?
No, Elmer Glue.
I also liked the scene where he like snuck into that little outpost by himself based off of a hunch.
Yeah.
I also like that, like Roland, like in his head, he's like, "Is this what they call a hunch?" Jake did good.
Jake good. It was a hard book, but I think he's really grown up, really maturing. It's good.
Yeah, this is Jake's big payoff book, I think.
Yeah.
Like so far, like that he's got the good payoffs in the book.
He's a good Padawan.
Who's next? Andy?
No, Oi.
Oi, yeah, best boy.
Oi didn't get to fight.
Yeah, that's BS.
That's BS. They should have taken the Billy Bumbler.
I felt like he was ready to fight with Jake if he needed to.
I feel like Oi has to fight at some point, right?
He's gonna bite the Crimson King's hand and then be incinerated.
He's gonna get killed in the last book, and I'm gonna lose my shit.
We're all gonna be real upset.
Like he's gonna dive to save Jake, and then he's just gonna get like exploded.
Then we drive to Florida and.
Oh no! He's gonna get Human Torched.
Deadpool's like, he's gonna say it. Flame on!
It's just a flesh wound.
That was so bad. Okay. All right. No, we have one more member of the ka-tet to discuss.
Oh, Callahan.
Donald Callahan.
He was okay.
I thought it was great.
I was not expecting this whole storyline at all.
I was because like
I knew we got Callahan back some point because we made the comment like in a few episodes back, but I didn't realize that it was going to be like a full-on straight from Salem's Lot kind of Callahan. And I'm like, wow, this is real close.
I knew that it was the same Callahan that just from like Stephen King podcasts, and I never got like actual spoilers, just that after he leaves Jerusalem's Lot, at some point he ends up in Roland's world and becomes part of the ka-tet. That's like all I knew.
All he had to do was die.
Yeah. Just like Jake.
He didn't get the AIDS though.
No, he didn't get the, what do they call it? The gay, they call it the gay something disease.
Does that make me queer? Maybe it does. I was like, this guy's great.
Yeah. It's 2003.
But I swear if you try to abort that demon baby.
Yeah, that I got a little irritated with the abortion bit, but other than that, I really enjoyed Father Callahan. I really liked his backstory. I really liked all the bits with the vampires. I'm hoping they're going to run into more vampires. I'm hoping that's set up for more vampires in the next two books. If not, I feel like it's a little bit of a cock tease.
We've had like references to other stuff like in these books before. It just I wasn't really ready for that on the nose of like having somebody come in from another world, like from one of his other books.
It's very much like when Worf joined the cast of Deep Space Nine. You're from the other show.
Yeah. And then we get that bit at the end where it's just like Stephen King's written on this billboard. I'm like, fuck you. No, come on.
Yeah.
Are you self-inserting?
So
the books are metafiction.
Real light spoiler for his novel Fairy Tale. In that one, that takes place in a Path of the Beam where Cujo is a movie. Like the main character is a 17-year-old kid, and it's a dog book, and like the dog is mean, and one of his friends like, oh, it's like from that movie Cujo, and then he also references that his dad reads this fantasy book series about a dark tower or something. So like in that one, Stephen King is also like a real person and an author. So like. It's just like it's a multiverse. Like there's a world for everything. There's a world where the Stephen King characters are real, and then there's a world where Stephen King is a writer and he writes these characters.
Yeah. Callahan got me. Again, that was the thing about this book that I really enjoyed. Like, because you know how much I bitch about segues. There's segues, however you want.
I could see it on Ryan's face. We were both about to do it.
Yeah. But like in this one, like I just really enjoyed taking these side trips. Like these were side trips that I thought were interesting.
No, I agree. I really liked all of Callahan's bits, except for him jumping all over Roland for trying to abort a demon.
That one didn't like fluster me as much because I've met people like that, and
it wouldn't have bothered me
if
he hadn't like 5 hours ago. I couldn't remember how long ago it was. I was like, hey, weren't you just talking about how you were kissing dudes, Mr. Priest? I'm fine if you want to be this dude, but you need to be consistent.
I'm also
but one is those are two very different things.
I was gonna say I'm also used to people like having a very firm stance on one thing when they should have a very firm stance on the other, but they don't.
Yeah,
like that's just kind of to me that's just a person.
In Catholic theology,
my whole thing is like
sodomy is just as bad as murder.
But he's not a priest anymore.
The thing that got me, and it only irritates me in
and
actual
he didn't commit sodomy.
Person is when he told Roland, if you do this, I will tell everybody.
That was the thing that bothered me.
I was just like, okay, first off, you want to believe what you want to believe, that's fine, but don't force me to accept your belief. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Like, the one interaction I ever had with somebody on the street was in, I know this is a bit of a jaunt, but I was in Huntington once, and I was out in front of a church, and there was a guy out there handing out pamphlets, and he was just like, you should come to the church, I took his pamphlet, and I'm like, okay, thank you, but, I don't live here, and I'm also not interested. And he was basically, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something about, like, those who don't believe will surely find damnation, or something like that. And I turned around and looked at him, I went, sir, do you believe you're going to heaven? And he said, well, surely I do. And I was like, okay, well, wherever you're going, I want to go the opposite place. And that's kind of been my stance on that for the longest time.
I was thinking of converting to Mormonism.
You want to get more jokes about being a sexual predator?
Yeah, that's 100% the reason. I also would show up every day in the white like shirt and nice pants. I haven't told you guys my Mormon story, have I?
I've seen that episode of South Park.
There's Mormons that keep coming by to visit my house, and my friends at work are like, "Oh, Daniel, why do you keep letting them in your house?" I was like, "Well, none of my friends ever come visit me, and at least these guys show up." And they're like, "Daniel, that's the saddest thing I ever heard." I was like, "Oh, you guys, I only ever hear from you if you want to drag me out of my house." So.
You hear there and there. What's your favorite story about our Lord? Oh, it's about the one when Jesus rescues the Samaritan.
Yeah, I mean,
no. That's the story Jesus tells about the Good Samaritan. Is it really?
I just let them read for a little bit, and I sip coffee because I know they're not allowed to drink coffee, and I think that's a little funny.
I didn't know that.
They're not allowed to drink coffee?
They're not supposed to imbibe any sort of caffeine. They've softened on soda over the years.
Why is caffeine the trigger drug?
I don't know. Nicotine too. Just anything.
How do they feel about heroin?
Yeah, anything that excites the senses.
Oh, how do they feel about women?
What about sugar?
I can tell you.
They 5 for every man.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the real reason I want to join.
White shirts be damned. I'm getting me 5 ladies.
It's either that or Catholicism, just because I think the churches are the prettiest.
I feel like I'm going to go down a bad path here. I'm not doing this.
Sorry, I'm done.
Callahan was dope.
Yeah, I love Callahan.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Andy?
I loved Andy, mostly just because I really liked that he laughed with his eyes.
That was eerie.
Yeah.
That was very eerie.
I was really irritated with everybody for being mean to Andy.
Yeah.
Like, it's obvious to me that this dude is bad, but you guys don't know it, so be fucking nice.
Well, they were treating him as an object, which...
But you can still be polite to, like, Princess Leia says thank you to droids. It's not that hard. Just be polite. Treat others like you want to be treated.
Oh, see, I got turned around by Andy because like there was for a portion of the book, like whenever they were talking about like like the ka-tet or whatever like that, and Callahan being part of the ka-tet, my brain was actually just like, I bet Andy's a ka-tet too.
Ka-tet of one.
And then the scene happened. I'm like, oh well, I was wrong.
I knew from the beginning he was. It was like, what? Because it was really obvious that the wolves were robots. So why would there be one robot just hanging out in this village?
Just to let them know that they're coming.
No, obviously this dude's an agent. Like, how did nobody figure that out?
Oh, see, I thought it was like...
they're a bunch of potato farmers.
I thought
rice farmers.
I thought it was going to be one of those things, like, because, like, again, I was, like, so bombarded by everybody just knows things because they know things. And it just... I thought Andy filled in that role as well, because I was just like, okay, he just knows shit because he's supposed to. So it didn't even occur to me that he would be, like, a traitor later.
And the other thing is, like, every robot character we've interacted with has been made by blah, 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 positronics.
And I don't know if I can use evil to describe most of these robots, but they've all been antagonistic as fuck.
Aside from the GPS thing and
the little flashlight thing. Yeah.
Aside from that, they've all been villains.
Yeah,
justice for the flashlight, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm still mad about that.
Are we looking up the flashlight?
No, the Positronics Limited Dark Tower, North Central Positronics. So they've like the bear. Blaine, all the little ones that Roland and Eddie and Susanna shot, they've all been made by North Central Positronics.
The Dark Tower is actually just corporate greed.
Okay, now just the last two things. Just in general, like the people of Calla and Sturgis. So, do you have any like general thoughts on them, or are there any like standouts from among them that you wanted to talk about?
I love ladies with spinning discs.
The Sisters of Oriza is a cool addition.
It's also just a fucking cool name.
Yeah,
the Sisters of Oriza. Like, my God.
Sisters of Orice.
I don't know if I'd lose my head over any of them.
I don't know. I thought
It
took me a minute.
Sorry. I've been waiting this entire episode to make that joke.
Yeah, I mean...
And now that you have...
You basically served that joke out on a plate, so...
I've had enough. Heads will roll. Not today, sirs.
They know how to get ahead of...
I will say, I was shocked that only 2 people died in the fight.
I also figured there would be more.
I expected it to go a little bit more tits up than that.
Yeah, I really did expect Benny's dad to die.
That was quite the turnaround.
Also, Rosalita, I really thought
she was going
like
to.
You have sex with Roland, you're dead. That's been the rule.
Yeah.
Everybody who has sex with Roland dies.
Now she got to give him his last little, vial of Bengay before he goes off to the Dark Tower for like another 6 months.
I need to get some ass in.
He got a lot of ass.
I don't know. I don't remember what book it was in, but he was at one point he said, "I cannot pronounce that word, and every time I try to say it, I feel like an idiot."
Yeah, he calls aspirin Aston throughout book 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't really have any, like, I'm gonna say super remarkable. Poor Tian. Oh man, like the one guy who sets all.
Jaffords.
Yeah, he sets it all up. He's the one that, like, firmly puts his foot down and says, "We've got to do something about this." And like next to, the villain, one of the villains of our piece, he loses the most. That's awful.
What's he lose?
That's his wife that gets decapitated.
It's
isn't it?
the big farmer's wife who dies.
The big farmer. Remind me.
Overhoser.
I don't think that's right.
It's not Zalia Jaffords, because Zalia Jaffords and Rosalita go into the corn to tell.
Was it Margaret? Was she the one who got decapitated?
It wasn't Zalia Jaffords. I can say that much.
I think her name was Margaret, and I can't remember whose I don't know whose wife she was, but I know she was a wife.
Do we want to talk about the wolves themselves, or?
I think they're kind of disappointing, like, to me. That was, like, I think one of the disappointing parts of the book with the wolves. Like, the fact that they were robots just kind of was just like, I mean, all right.
They're robots who serve psychics that eat brain juice.
I liked Roland's, like, they have gills on their chests, like, creations better.
I don't know what I was expecting from them. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super.
There was a lot of build up, and just like, I guess, Seven Samurai, they just fucking die.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I didn't have anything really against it, but I'm not gonna say it was like super remarkable either.
Hey, he looks like Jake Skywalker.
Jake Skywalker?
I don't know.
You're thinking of the actor and the boy in Anakin. That's. You just
Lloyd?
You just hybridized that. Holy shit!
Yes, I did.
It's Jake Skywalker.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Oh man, that's fantastic. If you just click the Sisters of Ariza, will that give us a list?
Yeah, Margaret Eisenhart is the one who was killed. So
okay.
Yeah, it was not Tian's wife.
Okay.
It was also not Overhoser's wife. But
okay.
It was Margaret Eisenhart.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary shit! Is this book scary? No. But it was gross when she ate the stuff.
Yeah.
No, this one doesn't really have the... Like, it's definitely not scary. It's like any other King book. Like, there's some conceptual fears here, but like...
Gray dick.
Gray dick.
We might be getting into... I'm getting out of this. No, it's not scary. No, it was gross.
Yeah.
Oh my god, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Okay, Hef, what is your king for Wolves of the Calla?
That's actually really tough because, like, this is of the Dark Towers you read so far. This one is my favorite. I have very little I didn't like about it. If I had to give a king, though,
have you heard the tragedy of Donald Callahan the Queer? I thought not. It's not a story the Catholics would tell.
I think I like Salem's Lot's one of my favorite Stephen King books, so I really did like kind of the world binding between, like, making that kind of canon with the book I was reading currently. It gave me some good feels.
Father Callahan is my king.
The Seven Samurai vibes. I kind of like, not just like Last Stands, but also like building up for like a big enemy with a small group.
Yeah. See, this one did it right.
Yeah.
Like, see, with that was the problem with the Wastelands, is the Wastelands cut you off before you get to the final confrontation, and that's kind of where I drew back here. Whereas this is a complete, here's our start, here's our climax, and now we have our next quest set up. Yeah. Like, this one's a lot more holistic to me.
Anything with those sorts of vibes I tend to dig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a close second. Koontz, I got bothered by Eddie and, like, saying that he would kill all their wives and children and it didn't matter because they're wolves and they marry wolves and they breed wolves. I'm like, dude, they're children. Like, sure, maybe they'll grow up to be bad, but right now they're kids, and if you kill them, you're murdering children. And it's not like, I mean, like, that's just like saying, like, you can never do parents better than your parents could do. If your parents were bad, then you'll be bad. And according to Eddie Dean, you can't do any better.
My Koontz is a setup for something that I never got. And I don't know if it was intended to be the setup it was. About the middle of the book, when they're talking about getting the money together for the lot to be able to buy it. And Susanna, they talk about doing this time thing where they're going into Susanna's time to be able to get money so that they can bring it back to be able to give it to Tower, or to Tower to pay off thing. And that whole thing ends up being, let's not do that, and I'm just going to go over there and say, I'm taking it from you.
But he said he would pay him.
Yeah.
So I think all that's going to happen in the next book.
It's possible.
Because Eddie wasn't just going to take it, but he was talking him into selling it to them. So they're still going to get him the money. I mean, he told him, like, you know, Holmes Dental or whatever. I'm the husband of the CEO's daughter.
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah.
It was a long book. So can't remember everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have a Koontz.
Okay. It was perfect.
It was perfect. It's
just like
it's just like Stellaria, yes.
Mine's just the merging of fictions. They look like Doctor Doom. Salem's Lot is a book.
Stephen King calling himself out.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought it was cool.
No, I'm not a fan of it.
And you enjoy the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like one of the main themes of the Dark Tower series.
Yeah. It's the thing I don't like the most, and it only gets worse from here.
Yeah. Well, sucks for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay. Rankings. Daniel, I guess you're first, because you're first. Let's see. So here's Drawing of the Three. Here's Gunslinger. Went Through the Keyhole. Wizard and Glass.
It's above the Drawing of the Three.
So it's your new number 23, below The Only Good Indians and above the Drawing of the Three.
Yeah. I like Elkhead Woman too much.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Alright, and then I'm next. This is also my favorite so far. It was close between it and Wizard and Glass, but I think this one is better. I don't know if it's Rattlesnake's good.
Rattlesnakes is pretty good.
But
Rattlesnakes gave me nightmares.
Yeah, I'm going to put it as my new number 7, above Wizard and Glass, and below No Be So Fierce. Little Sisters of Valeria is still your number 1.
This is the best punishment game we've ever done.
I think it goes below Dracula.
New number 7, below Dracula, and above The Shadow over Innsmouth.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Stein.
Hello, Mr. Black.
Who's that?
He's the new drama teacher.
Zombie Day, like...
Oh my god.
Yeah, this
Throw a dart at the board.
Yeah. This one was chock full.
Both, like, within Stephen King canon and outside of I mean, we've mentioned Doctor Doom, the lightsabers, the
C-3PO.
Golden Snitch, C-3PO, and then obviously all the Salem's Lot stuff, and like it's all there.
The different types of vampires.
Yeah, and this is the first like 19 has been a big thing, but this is the first book that gets like real explicit about the number 19. And after you read this book, now every time you read a Stephen King book and there are numbers, you add them up in your head. Do those equal 19? Welcome to the curse. Rubits. Okay, so if you had to add one more metafiction piece to the Wolves of Calla, be it armor, another weapon, or just add something to them from another, fictional property, what would it be and why?
It would be the caster gun from Outlaw Star.
And
then
it's close to my answer.
And Roland would secure it so that, that can be used against the Crimson King in the final battle.
Damn.
Where's he going to get the shells, though?
That's what Calvin Tower's for.
He has caster shells? You have a number 9?
That's what... They have to go to the space planet. Oh my god, the space planet Tenray in the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on board. That's what we're doing.
Oh my god. So many Katars are good.
They're just going to engage...
There are other worlds than these. One of them just has...
The Little Cat Girls of Eloria. My second favorite book of all time.
I was actually going to say the spear gun from Yu Yu Hakusho, because Roland's like, haha, we have taken all your snitches and your lightsabers, and then the wolves are just like, he'll never see it coming.
I should have done a gun.
My name's Roland, and I've got a sword.
A Pokeball to keep Boy in.
Oh.
Yeah. I had to look around your room to come up with something.
What if they stole Oi?
Yeah.
And they rode off to Thunderclap with Oi?
You have to fight Team Rocket.
Then you have
never fight Team Rocket.
Obviously, then Susanna disappears too, so we've got like a trifecta. We have to either save Oi, save Susanna, save Calvin Tower.
Oi.
But that's how the fellowship breaks.
God damn,
Jake goes after Oi. Eddie begrudgingly has to go after Calvin Tower, and Roland is who has to go after Susanna.
And they'll still blame it on Sean Bean.
I want to change my answer to Sean Bean. He just shows up.
Dies immediately.
Okay. Further reading, I think we've said the same stuff.
Harry Potter, so you know what a snitch is.
What? No.
That's the only reason to read Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Books suck.
I'm a Bludger fan myself.
I've never read them. So.
I'm a fan of the quaffle, just because it's the most fun to say. The quaffle.
I'm more of a fan of a queefle.
It's more like...
You're also more of a fan of a snatch than a snitch, so there's that too.
Oh my god, the golden snatch. Do you remember that one where Harry caught the golden snatch?
It's worth 200
he
points.
caught it in his mouth.
It's worth 200 points. Excellent. Harry caught the snatch. 200 points for Gryffindor.
Alright, upcoming on the Horror of Babylon.
Gryffindor's an STD.
Next Sunday, August 11th, we're doing our Attack of the
We're taking a 3-month break, or however long. 2-month break?
We're getting into August.
Yeah.
That's not the worst idea I've ever heard. We're doing our Attack of the Mutant watch-along episode. And then the next Sunday is our next bookisode. On August 25th, we're reading Goosebumps Night of the Living Dummy 2 by R.L. Stein. And then our next 2 bonus episodes, on August 8th, we're starting our next marathon, sponsored by Horsemen Comics and Gaming, where we are doing the Universal Monster-a-thon, and we're kicking off with Dracula, the Spanish edition, because we've already reviewed Dracula 1931 with Bela Lugosi. And then the next Thursday, August 15th, we are watching The Mummy, 1932. Not Brendan Fraser. So don't come expecting Brendan Fraser.
We should just superimpose him into the old movie.
That sounds terrible.
We'll just splice
that sounds so bad. But you know what doesn't sound bad? The support that we get from our patrons. Thank you to Abigail the First. Cy Abigail the First, Breaker of Trains, Mother of Oriza, and
Logan.
Cy Logan, the Full Metal Patron, Padawan of Andy. He's Andy's
Full
toady.
Metal Andy.
For the Full Metal Andy. And Cy Ben, the Patron of Hope, and
Mia, daughter of none.
Yes, there it goes. And Cy Sierra, the Keyblade patron. Oh, they could have Keyblades.
Yeah.
There
it is. Keys to other worlds.
and then like Eddie picks one up and he's like, "What fucking Marvel comic is this from?" I bet Harry Potter is a Marvel character from 1990 or some shit.
Callahan sees and goes, "I bet whoever used that weapon was a queer."
They probably had really big shoes. Really big shoes.
This is what unlocks the confessional. It's gotta be a big key for some big sins.
I love the part where Callahan thinks, "I've never touched." He said he never touched the altar boys. That was.
Oh yeah.
I swear. I'm like, the fact that you had to say that, man.
Poor Donald, or Danny Glick. Never touched Danny Glick before or after the vampirism.
And now he's too old.
And speaking of too old, thank you to Ronald the Third Grampus of Christmas, who runs Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit.
Is he not Cy Ronald?
No. No. Cry your pardon, Cy Ronald. Yeah, right. There's
we have to palather.
We have to palaver. Our palavering has gone on, and we unfortunately have more palavering to do. So let's. You can visit Four Horsemen at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at fourhorsemen.tcgplayerpro.com. And Ron is old.
Ron is old.
You can find him in the swamp where the daughter of darkness takes and eats all the rats and the toads.
Oh, that is the grossest thing. All right,
He's there on the rock watching.
Thank you.
Do you think Ron would do that for us?
No. I have seen him
naked
scrape vegetables off of everything he's ever ordered. He's not going to eat a frog.
He's not going to eat a live frog.
Unless it's red meat, American cheese, or white bread. I have not seen him eat it.
Are me and Ron the same person?
No. So we'll be back in 2 months. First Sunday in October. The Book of Susanna, the Song of Susanna. All right. Thank you for reading Wolves of the Calla and recording with me.
It was enjoyable. It was great.
Yeah, it was all right. Just like Wolverine and Deadpool. Oh, I'm sorry, Deadpool and Wolverine.
We know who deserves top billing.
Yeah, Q. Thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, folks.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/The Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.